Final video, what I want to do is I want to bring together many of the things that we've already discussed. We started out by installing the Back to the Lake course pack. We organized our content, so as I've started to do here, I have week 1 and week 2 folders. I could continue on with that all the way through every week in the class. And then I started to organize the content from within the course pack into these weeks. We talked about how you can control the deployment of the folders so students can see exactly what you want from us or resources that you've created on your own time. They can all go into these respective folders. We looked at the assignments and the quizzes that we've created that are ready to deploy, and we took a brief moment to review the Grade Center and how the grades that students make from taking the assignments that we've created and the quizzes that we've created are going to go into the gradebook and some features of the gradebook. But what I want to do now is talk a little bit about how all of these things can be brought together, how you can personalize the course pack. And the grander point that I want to make here is that what we've done by building our content directly into this Blackboard environment and then giving you and your students free access to it is to get you 80% of where you need to get. Because we have this content ready to go, you can make your changes, you can add your own content, but you can also spend more time putting your own fingerprint on your course. And always knowing that every student from the first day of class is going to be able to access everything that's in the course, from the assignments that you've created to the quizzes that we've built and maybe you've edited and anything else that you want. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a few more folders. And let's say, for example, that you wanted to create a assignment area or a content area that came before week 1. Sort of a folder or a content area that students would see before week 2 becomes available, and in which there are sort of introductory comments. There can be a number of different things. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that might include. So how would you go about setting all those things up? The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to build another content area. So I'm going to click on Build, and I'm going to create a content folder. And just like before, in that content folder, I'm going to call this Week 1 Wrap-Up. So I can control when this deploys. So maybe I don't want this folder to deploy until after the Week 1 material has been created. So I'm going to call this Week 1 Wrap-Up, and I'm going to set my deployment. So yes, I do want viewers to view this content. I want to track the views. And then if I wanted to, I could have this display at a time after the week 1 content has been created. So the first step is just to create the folder. Okay, as I've mentioned before, Blackboard places everything at the bottom once it's created. So I'm going to place that folder between week 1 and week 2. So now that I've created the Week 1 Wrap-Up folder, I'm going to click inside of it and add some content. What I'm going to do is actually create a video that is going to display directly in the page. I'm going to embed it. This is of Billy Collins delivering a TED Talk on everyday moments caught in time. So maybe I found that this was really relevant and I want to share this video with students. How do I go about doing that? Now I could create a link from within the Blackboard course directly here. The problem with that is that students, when they go out to external sites, especially YouTube, they tend to get distracted. And you know what? I do too. There's a lot of things to see and do over here, and maybe they don't quite make it through the video. So what we're going to do is, instead of creating a link, we're actually going to take some code, that HTML code, which is the code of the internet, and we're going to embed that directly into our Blackboard course. Here's how to do that. The first thing that you do, obviously, you're going to find the video that you want to include. And if you're on a YouTube page, what you're going to select just underneath the title is the word share. So it'll be selected on About. It'll give you a little bit more information about the video. But I'm going to click on Share. And then, while I could simply copy and paste the link and make that a link that links out from Blackboard, I'm going to embed. And what this means is, and what this strange code here is HTML code that's going to control how this video is going to display in your Blackboard course. So you can do some interesting things here. You can customize how this video is going to display. You might feel, for example, that 560 by 315, which is what we're looking at now, is not quite big enough. You want it to display very big and be very prominent on the page in your Blackboard course. So I'm going to switch that to a dimensions of 853 by 480. Your mileage may vary, and you obviously want to try it, see what it looks like before you go with a particular dimension size. I'm then going to uncheck show suggested videos when the video finishes. So now that I have this code that's going to have this very particular dimension size, I'm going to copy and paste the embed code. And then I'm going to right click, and I'm simply going to copy that code. So that's the first step. Go to YouTube, select on share, select on embed, and then you're going to grab the embed code, the HTML code. Now we need to bring this over into Blackboard. My Blackboard course, and I'll obviously want to give this a name. I have one hand to do this with, so I'm going to type Billy Collins without capital letters, just so you can get the sense for how this is going to work. Now, if all I did was come into the content area here and paste the code, this is what's going to be displayed on the page when I submit it, and that's not helpful at all. So what we need to do is let Blackboard know that we have code, we have HTML code, and we need it to behave or display in a very particular way. We want Blackboard to render this code as it would any web page that's out there. And the way to do that in Blackboard is to first, you want to expand the options that you have in terms of the content menu here. And I think this is something that many people don't know about because it's not selected by default. But by selecting on this little icon over here, you can expand and see the multitude of options that you have. There are a number of different options here. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to select on this little icon area over here. This is the HTML code view. So what we're going to do is we're telling Blackboard that this item that I'm going to paste into this document needs to be rendered as HTML code. You need to treat it differently than you would any other text. So by selecting on HTML, a box will pop up, and now essentially you're working in the skeleton of the internet, right? You're working at the code level. And I'm going to paste that directly into the page. So that's all you need to do. You can put as many spaces as you want. It doesn't really matter. You just want to paste the code that was in the previous, on the previous page, that YouTube page, and then hit update. Now what will happen is Blackboard will display this giant yellow box, and that might steer you to think that you've done something wrong. You haven't. Select on it, and what I will always do is center it. So I want that display right in the middle of the page. So we have some text, and of course, obviously if you want to add to that, you can do it simply by typing. The final step to make this video render is to hit submit. And once I hit submit, the video is now going to be displaying right within the page. Now at this point, you can do any number of things that you can do to any Blackboard page. For example, by clicking on edit, I can control when students actually see this video in this particular window. So maybe on the first day for the week 1 wrap-up, they watch the video. And then maybe for the second day of the week 1 wrap-up, they see a different video. And you can control that deployment using the edit functionality, as we saw before. You can also turn statistics tracking on and off. So you might find it interesting to know if students are actually watching and clicking on the videos that that you've selected for them. And this would be one way of using the analytics that is built into Blackboard to see how students or see if students are watching and finding relevant content that you've built. So that's the first thing that I want to show. How do you build videos and other multimedia directly into a Blackboard, your Blackboard course. So now that we've placed our Billy Collins video on the page, we may want to ask students to respond to it in some way. So without leaving this content area, I'm going to select on assessments, and maybe I want to create an assignment. And I'll select on assignment, and I'll give this a name. So I'll say, we'll call this the Billy Collins response assignment. And in it, we'll ask students to respond to the video. So in the video, Billy Collins is talking about some animated shorts that were made based on several of his poems. So maybe you want to have students discuss in a paper what they think of this sort of artistic expression when writers take other writers' work and respond to it in some way, create projects of their own, or create creations of their own in a different medium, whatever it might be. We want students to respond in some way through writing. So we'd type in our instructors here, and forgive me, I won't do that because I am operating with only one hand right now. And we're going to make this worth 100 points. And again, like everything else, so we're creating an assignment from scratch. We only want to allow a single attempt. We want to make this assignment available for a particular period of time. I'm not going to do that just now. We can track the number of views, all those things that we've looked at before. And then we would choose, do we want all students individually to see the assignment? And then I'll hit submit. So really easy to create a gradable assignment that's going to play well right along with that Billy Collins video. And then maybe finally you want to add one of our assessments. So I'm going to, from the drop-down menu, I'll select a test, and then I'll click our assessment, then I'll click test. And then I'll choose whichever of these assignments is going to be appropriate. Now I'm just going to choose one because I don't think anything would quite work. Maybe Lawrence Lessig's debating intellectual property, free culture, actually, that's very appropriate. And I'll hit submit. And it will ask me all of those questions. Do I want to make this available? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I'll hit submit. And now we have the assignment, we have the video embed, and we have the assessment that comes as part of the course pack. So the point of this exercise really was just to demonstrate that with a Blackboard Norton course pack, you can really combine your own course, your own creation, with the content that we've provided. And you can edit that content in any way that you see fit. So it truly does become, our course truly becomes your course. It melds with the course as it develops semester after semester. So I hope that you found these videos useful. Again, from start to finish, we looked at the course pack itself, how it gets installed. That was in the first video. We then looked in the second video on how to organize your content in the course pack into your own course, how to develop your course. We looked at the how to assign the many assessments that are built into the course pack, and finally we looked at how to bring all of those things together so you truly can create your own course. So good luck in the coming semester, and please let us know how the course pack works for you, how we can improve it, and we'd love to hear your notes of and stories of success as well. Thanks so much, Grayson College, and we'll see you soon.